struggling for a recommendation. My name is Kat Kipling, and I'm delighted to be back here at Early Bird Speakers. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just part of the family. You can call me what you want, as long as it's polite. It's my pleasure to be evaluating the meeting this morning and all of those who haven't had any feedback yet. And I'll start out with my very warm welcome downstairs with Nina at sign-in. When I say warm, it's pretty chilly down there with that open door. But I was welcomed in a warm way, and I would recommend next time with that draft, she pins the papers down with glasses, cases and things, because that wind's going to keep blowing for another couple of months. May at reception here, also very warm smile all the way down the corridor to me. I'd suggest that we making sure that all of those name labels are ready, because I was definitely coming. I'm a general evaluator and it was all being sorted out on my arrival, so just getting that done before the people you know are coming turn up. But such a lovely warm welcome also from Gemma at the door. She reminded me where the ladies, I mean gents, are, and showed me into the cloakroom, which was great. And I also loved her introduction up here on stage to the guests. Incredibly enthusiastic, and that's exactly what we need, that comment of, it can be difficult coming into a room like this, and welcoming everyone and making everyone feel warm and fuzzy. Little recommendation for her for next time. The topic of superheroes, quite challenging. There are a lot of male gendered superheroes and not that many female superheroes. So I was struggling to think of something then, but something that's maybe a little bit more inclusive next time. Meeting kicked off with Ian, a little call to order. I like that. I don't know if that's something new here, but I think it's fantastic when you have someone that just brings the president up to the stage. Neil's as president. How welcoming is he as well? And that is a theme. You're going to hear me saying that again and again, but the welcoming that came from Neil's. The energy too, and we need that at a morning meeting, don't we? We need to have that energy lifting us up and carrying through the meeting. Little challenge for him for next time. I felt that a lot of it was up here, and maybe just to bring in a little light and shade to his introductions, just to bring it back, but then make sure he hands over with that effervescence as he did to our Toastmaster, Robert. Robert was very in control this morning, wasn't he? Smooth, slick. There was one little hint of forgetting it. So professional. No forgetting. What I would like him to do next time is sometimes just to re-inject that energy, because it's very smooth, it's very professional, and the momentum keeps going, but sometimes just to kick us up a notch. Partway through the meeting, it's early doors, and sometimes you just need that little rev. Our timekeeper Luke and his assistant this morning loved his quotes, and I loved how he held the stage when he forgot one of them. The confidence of being able to do that, and it was a long old pause, and we're all thinking, has he forgotten? Or maybe. And then he let us know he had. And having that humour and that confidence to do that is a fantastic skill, because we do forget what we say sometimes, and just styling it out is a brilliant way of doing it. What I'd like for him to have done this morning is let us know how long grace period was before the bell goes. And maybe it's different for different sections, but for me, it's usually 30 seconds, but it might not be at different clubs, so it's just useful to know that. Our table topics this morning from Catherine. Great fun, inventive, creative topics. Enable the speakers to play around, use some stories, use some of their knowledge. Great topics. I would like her at the start just to give a little bit more information as to the benefits of doing the table topics. For me, it's one of the most important things we do at Toastmasters. It's much more like real world than getting to spend 5 to 7 minutes talking about our hobbies. So just hooking anything, it's not everyone may be aware of that. Our first evaluator of the morning was Solomon with a table topics evaluation. He'd listened really carefully. He'd been really astutely listening to all of those topics, and there were a lot to cover in the time available, so I really applause to him covering all of that off. I'd like him to make sure next time a couple of things around his recommendations, keeping them in the third person. It's good for the person receiving them, but it also means that everyone in the room can benefit from those recommendations. And always someone should get a recommendation my tip is find something little, really early doors. It might be just a little straightening your badge or whatever it is, just so they've got something to take away for next time. For our speech evaluators, we had Vanessa evaluating Scott's speech. Fantastic structure. Commendations, recommendations, commendations, beautiful little conclusion. I'd like her to own her recommendations more. I felt that she was a bit like, oh, Scott could go and maybe ask about this. And like, this is what I think you should do. My opinion. Take it or leave it, but own them a little bit more. Fantastic closing line. We've all got our hot pink Scott. That's my favourite line. Shoshana evaluating Richard's speech. Really interesting structure. I like the fact that she reflected on his journey over the last few speeches. And she could spend a lot of time on that, and then her recommendations were somewhere else. Unfortunately, that then led into her overrunning. So I'd suggest next time, if you're going to take that unusual structure, own it more. Have that commendation section reflecting recommendations around one thing, and then perhaps a summary, rather than going, oh, moving on. Hugely encouraging though. He's an experienced speaker, but it doesn't harm to have that real encouragement to get back up and keep doing it again, better and better and better. Mark, our final speech evaluator today, evaluating Monica's speech. Really clear explanation of the project that she was doing, which is fantastic because it obviously wasn't in the schedule because it was a reserve speaker. I'd like him to lose that massive book that he's using. He doesn't need it. Nothing at all, perhaps, or just some small notes. He was in it a bit more, and he doesn't need that because he engages so well with us when he's not got his head in it. I loved his demonstrations for his recommendations, the facial expressions, the using the stage. Quickest way of showing a recommendation is doing it. And finally, we had Bianca as a linguist today. What enthusiasm. Firstly, for getting up and doing it at the last minute. Always hats off to someone who does that. I'd like next time, if she's doing this role, to explain a little bit more about what it was. She used the phrase, anything interesting, I'll be noting it down. Which is quite broad. I knew that it was probably going to be around language and the use thereof, but just a little bit more explanation. I thought that her fantastic hard line on the overuse of the word so was well done. It's a real bugbear of mine as well, and I was thrilled that she highlighted it. Thank you, as always, for having me here today, and I look forward to catching up with you afterwards.